Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the All Things Mizzou podcast. I'm your host, Megan Dorr, and today I'm going to be going solo to talk a little bit about the recent announcement of Desireé Reed-Francois leaving Missouri to become the athletic director at the University of Arizona. It was announced yesterday that Desireé Reed-Francois would be leaving Missouri to become the athletic director at Arizona and take a 5-year contract that had a base salary of $1 million plus $250,000 each year, and then by her 5th year, her salary would go up to $1.2 million. At Mizzou, Reed-Francois had just signed a contract extension recently that put her earning $1.25 million a year plus bonuses. It's a very interesting move to Arizona because Arizona is recently announced their athletic department is in a $177 million budget deficit. And at Mizzou, Desireé Reed-Francois had been able to turn around Missouri's budget deficit. In the last 5 years, she got them into their first surplus. Reed-Francois will become the first female athletic director in Arizona history. And this is a really big loss for Missouri because in just her 3 years in Columbia, Reed-Francois had a huge impact on the program. Some of her accomplishments at Mizzou include recently they received a $62 million gift to the athletic department. That's the biggest donation in Mizzou history. Under her, Missouri built the new Stevenson indoor football practice facility. There was a lot of renovations to Mizzou Arena. Recently, seats were painted from yellow to black. Stadium food across all sports went down by so much to make it much more affordable. Ticket prices were tried to make affordable. They repackaged the alumni did it. And she also had a major impact with NIL. Mizzou was one of the colleges at the forefront of NIL, and a lot of this was under Reed-Francois' leadership. She helped create local NIL legislation with Missouri Governor Mike Parsons. They got the House to sign a bill in July that gives a huge in-state recruiting advantage to Mizzou because this bill allows recruits that live in Missouri to begin earning NIL money in high school if they sign with an in-state school. And this is something that so few other schools have the ability to do. It has been a huge reason why Mizzou's recruiting has really shot up in recent years. Under Reed-Francois, she hired a range of new coaches, including Carrick Jackson for baseball, who so far has been doing a good job. Notably, the big one is the hiring of Dennis Gates, which she hired last season. Basketball, yes, has had a down season this year, but Gates got Mizzou back to the tournament in their first season under him. She hired a new volleyball coach in Don Staley, who got the Tigers back to the NCAA tournament this year. She hired a new track and field coach and cross-country coach, and a lot of these coaches have been super successful. On top of this, Reed-Francois was the first female athletic director in Mizzou history, and when she was the athletic director at UNLV, her stop before Mizzou, it made her the first Hispanic woman AD in all of SBS schools. So Reed-Francois has really been a groundbreaker in these areas where there's not so many women in the field. When she took the Mizzou job, she was the first female athletic director at an SEC public institution, really paving the way for those before her. A little bit on Reed-Francois' background, she went to college at UCLA for her undergrad where she was a rower, and then she did attend Arizona Law School, which could play a big part in her wanting to return to the West Coast. She grew up in the West Coast, she went to law school at Arizona, but since going to law school, she kind of has had stops all over the country. She's worked at schools including, as I mentioned, she was the athletic director at UNLV before she came to Mizzou. She worked at Virginia Tech, at the University of Cincinnati, at the University of Tennessee, and everywhere she's gone, she's really just done a good job. She's proven a track record of turning programs around. Just under the last 3 years at Mizzou, athletics have come alive. And a big part of that is because Reed-Francois made her face available everywhere. She was always on the sidelines, on football games. I saw her in the press conferences there. She was talking to at the basketball games. She would talk to the Antlers in the crowd. She wasn't just at the big sports either. She came to all the smaller, non-major revenue sports, just showed her face. And besides athletics, she was just all over campus. She was kind of like on the level of Mun Choi, the president. People knew who she was here. And there is some speculation that this move, which came very out of the blue after a time where Mizzou was at an all-time high in athletics, has come after recently the board of curators appointed to have a committee overseeing the athletic director. So this committee was made up of 4 people, and pretty much they have the power to look over everything she's doing, kind of look over her shoulder. So that was interesting. There's been some rumors about that. And with Reed-Francois gone, Mizzou has announced that she'll be replaced right now by Marcy Gurton, who was named the interim athletic director. And Gurton, right now, she was the associate athletic director for football administration and special projects, but she has over 30 years of experience from all 11 levels of college athletics, from a student athlete to a coach to administrator, and recently she's been really, really big in the NIL game. So Gurton will become the interim athletic director until Mizzou names their new candidate. There hasn't been a ton of names being thrown around yet, but some I've heard. One is Ren Baker, who is the athletic director currently at West Virginia, and at West Virginia, he's kind of had to deal with football had a better year this year. He had to deal with the turmoil of Bob Huggins coaching with all of his allegations and having to fire him, but he had a brief tenure as the deputy athletic director at Mizzou, and he actually served as the interim a few years ago when Mizzou was going through an athletic director change. Another name that's been thrown around is Sarah Baumgartner. She is the senior associate athletics director at Texas, but she has experience working at Texas now since 2021. She was at Rutgers, where she was the deputy director of athletics, and she actually was at Missouri for 7 years, from 2009 until around then, where she was the associate athletic director for development, the executive director of development and Tiger Scholarship Fund, and in charge of the annual giving. So had a really big experience with those boosters. And we saw the $62 million donation recently. Booster engagement is huge with athletics right now. And she actually graduated from the University of Illinois, close to here, Midwest. You wonder if there's ties there. But unsure where Mizzou's going to go from here. Some possible repercussions you would have to think about with a new athletic director is, do they want to bring in their own coaches? With Dennis Gates' basketball team not doing so well this year, do you think that maybe they give him one more year, but the new athletic director is like, I want to bring in my guy? Because a lot of the coaches here, they have all spoken so highly of Reed-Francois. They said they're going to miss her. They really enjoyed everything we did. We know that Gates and Reed-Francois had a very good relationship. So some possible repercussions could come for that. That's all I have for you today. Just a little more about the absence of Desireé Reed-Francois and what this means for Mizzou. Everyone, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great day.